Okay, it's time to get you the information that you're going to need to know about tournaments in the Wasatch Independent Debate League. In this video, we're going to cover the following information. First, we're going to talk about what requirements you have as far as attending or judging at tournaments at the Wasatch Independent Debate League. Second, we're going to talk about the divisions and the events. So that's, how do we divide the students who are competing in the tournament and what different events can they compete in. And then finally, we're going to talk about first, what it looks like to compete in a tournament for a student and what you can expect specifically, and second, if you're a judge, what it is that you can expect for your day judging a tournament. So let's jump right in. The requirements for students in the Wasatch Independent Debate League is that they compete in 4 tournaments throughout the course of the year. Students should have plenty of opportunity to do that. There should be 7 tournaments at least that they have the opportunity to compete in. So it means that you don't have to compete in every tournament, but of course you can compete in all the tournaments that you want to. So you can miss some, but you still have to get to your 4 tournaments throughout the course of the year. If you are a parent, then you are obligated to judge in 1 tournament per student you have in the class per year. Of course, it could be you, but it could also be a grandparent or an adult sibling or anyone who's willing to judge on behalf of your child so long as they are an adult. Noting that students completing their 4 tournament requirement must complete in full tournaments, not half or partial tournaments, and it's the same thing for judges. Judging at a full tournament fulfills your obligation as a parent judge. Now, let's talk about the divisions in tournaments. In Wasatch Independent Debate League, we have the following divisions. First, we have the Novice Division. The Novice Division encompasses students who are in their first year of competition and they are also 14 years and younger. So this is for essentially students who are new and they are also young. And so if they want to compete in that division, that in essence protects them from the other students who maybe are older or have more experience. This gives you an easy way to ease into competing in the Wasatch Independent Debate League. You lose your novice status once you are no longer in your first year of competition, or if you age out of it. So if you are anything older than 14 when you are competing, then you're no longer in the novice division. And so in any given tournament, we will have some events that are novice events, and those novice events are only for those students. We also have a senior novice division. The senior novice division is for anyone in their first year, regardless of age, or anyone in their second year of competition who is 13 or younger. So again, that fits these 2 categories. One, people who are in their first year and it doesn't matter what age they are, but also if you started young and then you're in your second year of competition. That again gives you more opportunity to ease into competing in the open division, which is our 3rd division. Open is for anybody. Anybody can compete in it. And the rule is that you can always compete up, but you can't compete down. So if you no longer belong in the novice division, obviously you can't do that. But if you're in the novice division, then you can compete in senior novice and you can also compete in the open division. Let me also note that for any given tournament, we will likely have an online or a couple of online events. That means that in this tournament, for example, we'll say in the first tournament we have Oratory is our online event and Spar is our online event. It means that if you want to compete in those events, you have to compete online because that's an online portion of the event. Now noting, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't compete in person. It means, or rather attend in person. You can attend in person and then bring a device and compete online on location so that you can compete in the event that you want to, but that you will also, so you'll be able to compete in the event that you want to, but you also have to be able to have the in-person experience. Let's note that for anyone who's not competing, or who's in a class that isn't directly in the center of the Wasatch Independent Debate League, those people are always going to have an opportunity to compete in at least 7 tournaments. So you will have options to compete online at any given tournament, or we'll also make the attempt to bring some in-person tournaments to you as well. Now let's talk about the events that you have available in a tournament. First, you have Spar and Impromptu. Generally speaking, these are novice events. Spar is a quick 10-minute one-on-one debate where you get your topic, you have a minute to your topic and your side, you have a minute to prepare, and then you're paired up with a competitor, and then you just debate them for a quick 10-minute debate. It's simple, it's not on issues that need to be researched, and it's a lot of fun. Impromptu is where you are given as a speaker 3 prompts, you choose a prompt, and then you have 7 minutes to both write and deliver a speech about this prompt. These prompts are things that also wouldn't require a lot of foreknowledge or research. We try to write it so that at least one of those 3 prompts will be something that you have enough familiarity with that you could write a speech on. Also, a quick event, doesn't take a lot of experience, and a lot of fun. The other events that we have available are Student Congress. Student Congress is a simulated Congress. Students take turns chairing in the Congress. They bring forward legislation. They debate each other's legislation, vote on the legislation, and so forth. That one's a lot of fun. Then we have presidential debate. Presidential debate is just what it sounds like. You get presidential candidates in a room together, and then they are given by a moderator questions that they would then answer and the debate against each other to convince the judge that they should be the next president of the United States. We also have oratory. Oratory is a 7 to 10 minute prepared speech written out ahead of time and then memorized for delivery in front of judges and for the benefit of your competitors as well. This one's really great because it's the one where you get to say the thing that's really on your mind, something that's really important to you. It's of your totally of your own creation. The next one is extemporaneous. Extemporaneous is where students are assigned 3 current events topics before the tournament starts, and then they are to research those topics and compile information about those topics before the tournament starts. Once they get to the tournament, they get asked specific questions about the topics, and then they then have 30 minutes to prepare a 7-minute speech that's to be delivered without notes that would answer that question. Finally, we have Lincoln Douglas. In Lincoln Douglas, students are presented a resolution about 5 weeks before the tournament. That resolution, they are obligated to be prepared to argue in the affirmative and the negative. And then once they get to the tournament, they'll have the opportunity to debate in about a 40 to 45 minute debate with opponents each round, and they'll switch off being affirmative and negative throughout the rounds. So those are the basic events that you can compete in. Each of them have their own fun things about them. Each of them have their own challenging things about them. All of them are good for your education, and I hope you'll enjoy them. Finally, let's talk about what happens at a tournament. Let's start with what happens if you're a student. If you're a student, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to pick which event you're going to compete in. You may say, oh, well, the senior novice event for this tournament is oratory, so I'm going to do senior novice because I'm in my first year and I want to be in the senior novice event. Or maybe you would choose student congress or impromptu or whatever. Once you've chosen what you want to do, you get registered for the tournament. The place that you'll register for the tournament is on the tournament page. As soon as tournament registration is open, under the Current Students tab on the menu at wasatchdebate.org, you'll see that tournaments will pop up, and then you can register as a student. Now, in order to register, you're going to need your competition number. There's a bunch of reasons why we have the competition number, and probably not important to get into here, but it's absolutely essential that you do know your competition number. You can find your competition number in your shared Google Drive folder. It is available to you on your homework record on a tab that's the student directory and student email and competition number directory. But if you can't find that, just talk to your teacher and your teacher can help you find it. That competition number is what you'll put in when you are saying, I would like to compete. So when you go to the tournament page, you click the registration button and then you put in your competition number and you indicate what it is that you wish to compete in. All right, once you've registered, then you start preparing. If you're doing something like Spar or Impromptu, you just practice. If you're doing Lincoln Douglas, you prepare by researching the resolution and preparing the arguments that you would like to make on it. If you're doing oratory, then you'll write your oratory and memorize it ahead of time. And if you're doing Student Congress, you'll write your bill and submit it when you register, and then you'll read other people's bills and get up to date on what it is that you're going to be debating in the Congress, and so on and so forth. Just depending on which event you're doing, that may change what the preparation is that you're going to be doing for the tournament. Finally, you get to the day of the tournament. The first thing that you do is that you get dressed appropriately for the tournament. So let's talk about tournament dress code. Tournament dress code is professional dress. For boys, that's going to mean that you're going to have at least a button-up shirt and a tie, slacks, something of that nature, something that you would wear to a professional meeting. For girls, that might be a skirt or a dress. You can wear slacks. It's not something that you don't have to be formally dressed, just professionally dressed. So think, okay, if I was going to go to a business meeting or I was going to do a presentation in a business meeting, what would I want to look like? And that's about what you want to look like. Let's note that we also don't want to put pressure on people to go out and buy expensive new clothing so that they can compete in tournaments. Whatever the best is that you have as far as professional dress goes, that's fine. And we don't want to make anyone feel like they have to incur extra expense in order to compete in a tournament. All right, now that you're dressed, What you do is going to depend upon whether you are actually going to the location of the tournament or whether you're competing online. So let's talk about what happens if you're going to the location of the tournament. You drive there, there will be, on the tournament page, there will be a schedule indicated, and it will have a window for when you're supposed to check in. You come, you check in, you let the people who are checking you in know that you are there, and then there's going to be an orientation. At orientation, we'll talk about anything particular that you need to know, tell you where the bathrooms are, let you know a little bit about the schedule, and just make sure that you generally know what's going on at the tournament. Then you're going to have rounds of competition. In each round of competition, you will compete with fellow students with a different group of students each round, and you'll compete in front of a different judge each round. Those rounds will run throughout the day, generally about 4 rounds in a Wasatch Independent Debate League tournament, though that can depend on the type of tournament that we're in. And then there's going to be lunch scheduled at some point. So you're going to compete and you're going to eat lunch. Now, one of the things that people most often want to know is, well, how many people am I going to be competing in front of? Generally, the answer is your room of competition, unless there are people who come to observe, which observers are always welcome at tournaments. But unless we have a lot of observers in a room, you're generally going to have 5, 6, 7, maybe up to 8 or 9 people in the room. So it's not like you're going to be competing in front of an auditorium of 200 people while you're competing. Okay, so you're going to have your rounds of competition. That's going to be punctuated by lunch, and then by the time you're done, we're going to tabulate the results, and we'll end the day with an award ceremony, and we will announce the winners in each division. Now, I want to note that the tournament runs from, you can expect something like 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock for your complete tournament experience. That's show up to leave time. And so you can expect for basically a full day during a tournament. Now let's talk about how that's different if you're online. If you're competing online, you're not actually going to the tournament location. What you'll do is you will, on the tournament page, the day of the tournament, on that page there will show up buttons that you can press to join the tournament meeting. You're going to check in just like the other students, and you'll be a part of orientation. We'll have the video that's showing the orientation. And so you'll be able to be a part of orientation, and then you're going to compete in your rounds punctuated by lunch, except that you are going to have, instead of having going to your physical room, you'll just go to a digital room and you'll compete with your digital tournament compatriots, and then you'll also have a digital judge as well. Then you'll see the award ceremony. It's done. When it's done, everyone gets emailed their ballots, and that's where you get your feedback from your judges. You see how you ranked in your rooms and how they scored you on the various measures like delivery or argument or organization, things like that. That's what the tournament experience is like generally for a student. Now for judges. The first thing I want to address for judges is when we start talking about people judging at tournaments, the most common objection that I get from parents is, I don't know what to look for. I've never done debate before. How could I possibly judge this? I want to let you in on one of the perspectives that we take in the Wasatch Independent Debate League. For us, it's really important that we value education over competition. So if we valued competition, we may want to make a completely level playing field where all the judges were looking for the exact same thing. But I think that does harm to a student's education, because that's not what they're going to experience in real life. In real life, they're going to have judges that have all sorts of preferences, and they have to learn how to deal with those different preferences. So you are the judge that we're looking for, because even if you haven't done debate before, you have things that you prefer. Some people like emotional appeals more than they prefer a logical argument, or other people have a really high need for cognition, so logical arguments are really, really important to them. Whatever you are, that's what we want, because we want students to get feedback from you. The only exception here is that students are often assigned the position that they are to take, or sometimes they're just trying out a position because they think it's interesting and they want to explore it. So we want you to bring your preferences in, but we don't want you to mark students down because they didn't align with your political ideology or whatever beliefs it is that you have. We would like you to sort of separate that from your preferences in how you like to be persuaded, or what's important to you when it comes to persuasion. All right, so if you're a judge, the first thing that you're going to do for a tournament is you're going to say, all right, I am not scared to do this because I am the right judge, because I have a perspective and I want to share that with students, so I'm going to go ahead and get registered. You go ahead and on the tournament page for any given tournament, there's a place where you can click a button. It says register as a judge. You put your name in, you put your email in, give us a little bit of information, and then we have you down as a judge for that tournament. Being a judge for the tournament, you'll get periodic information that you might need, and you'll get materials that will help you understand how to judge. So if you've never judged before and you don't really know what's going on, before the tournament comes, we'll send you some documents or videos that you can take a look at, and then you'll be able to understand a little bit about what's going on ahead of time. The day of the tournament, you show in during the check-in time, and during that check-in time, we'll have an orientation for judges. And during the orientation, we'll tell you where to be and how to submit your ballot and what sorts of things you should put in the ballot. And we'll help you generally get oriented in the tournament experience. And then what's going to happen is you will be assigned to judge various rounds throughout the tournament, again, punctuated by lunch in the middle. And once you're done judging all those rounds that you're in, then you can stay, you can go. I would highly recommend that you stay for the award ceremony. It's a really fun and exciting time. And you can see how the kids that you judged did, how they ended up ranking in the final rankings. And that's basically the judging experience. Once the tournament is over, then your ballots will be emailed automatically to the students, and they get your feedback, and you've done a great service for them because they get to hear what your perspective was and try to learn from you as a judge. So that's the general outline of how tournaments go. I hope that answers the questions that you have, and we really want to make sure that you have a great tournament experience. So we're dedicated to working hard and making sure these tournaments are the best possible experience for you, for your students, and we're excited to see you there. Hope you have a great day.